What is the nature of God? Well, to understand that, we must first understand what being and existence is. Being and existence at their core answer each other in the most radical way. They are God Himself. In the fullest and most unrestricted sense of the word, being and existence are to be understood as identical with God. He is pure act, as the argument from motion reveals. God is not merely something that has existence, He is the pure act of existence itself. Simply put, God is the very subsisting act of being. His nature is existence, being itself, without any shadow of limitation or composition. Only God is limitless, fully subsistent being, utterly simple and infinite in His perfection. Yet we creatures also possess being, though in lesser degrees, always in accordance with the limitations written into our own natures. God is the fountain of all existence, the source who freely shares His being with everything that is. Our particular natures function like funnels or channels that receive this one divine act of being and restrict it, shaping it into the finite modes proper to each kind of thing. In this way, all things participate in God's existence according to their capacity, never equaling it but reflecting it in their own measure. Before any comparison between things can be made, there must be something common that unites them. This common foundation is existence itself. Everything that is possesses this one shared reality of being, which allows us to speak of them all as existing in some way. Yet precisely because they are not God, they receive this common existence imperfectly, in lesser and varying degrees. The natures of things act as real limits. They determine how much of the act of being can be received and in what specific manner it will be expressed. And nature is not neutral. It sets boundaries, introduces composition, and brings with it various kinds of potency that prevent the full, unrestricted possession of existence. Consider how these limitations operate across the hierarchy. A stone possesses existence, but its material nature limits and receives being in a very imperfect way. The act of being is confined almost entirely to simple subsistence in space and time, with almost no interior activity, no sensation, and no capacity for self-directed movement. The stone's essence contracts and restricts the shared act of existence so tightly that its being remains minimal and passive. A human, by contrast, receives the same common existence more fully because his rational nature opens wider channels for it. Through intellect and will, the human can know truths, love goods, and direct himself freely. His being is richer and more actual. Yet even here the reception remains imperfect. The human nature, being a composite of existence, essence, and matter, carries potency, changeability, dependency on external causes, and the constant need to actualize its powers step by step. Matter in particular adds heaviness and limitation, making human existence vulnerable to fatigue, ignorance, and disorder. Higher still stand the angels. They too receive the common act of existence, but their simpler natures, composed of existence and essence without matter, allow a more intense and immediate participation. Their intellects grasp truth with greater clarity, and their wills adhere to goods with stronger stability. Still, their reception is not total. Angelic natures remain distinct from existence itself. They receive being as a participated gift and are limited by the specific perfections and boundaries of their created essences. They cannot be everything that God is. Thus, the great chain and ladder of being reveals itself with profound order. Everything shares the common reality of existence, which makes comparison and distinction possible in the first place. At the same time, every finite nature limits and receives this shared being imperfectly according to its own degree of capacity. The further down we descend, through minerals, plants, animals, humans, the more restricted and potential laden the nature becomes, and so the less capacity it has to receive the fullness of existence. The higher we ascend, the greater the power and openness of the nature, allowing a more intense reception of being. Yet no creature escapes this limitation. At the summit stands God alone, who needs no reception and sets no limits upon himself, for he is being itself, pure, unlimited, the source from which every participation flows. This vision unveils the ultimate and intimate dependence of all things on God, while honoring the real distinctions and perfections proper to each level of creation. Existence is never neutral or self-explanatory. It is always a participated gift, common to all, yet received according to the contracting and specifying power of each nature. In every act of being, however small or grand, we touch the mystery of divine generosity, where the common gift of existence meets the unique limitations of created natures, forming the ordered symphony of reality. This truth invites both wonder and humility, for it roots our own existence in the very heart of God, while calling us to ascend toward greater actuality through the unfolding and purification of our natures.